Now, Police Commissioner Khehla Sitole has rejected claims made by the Police Minister during the State of the Nation address debate yesterday. Bheki Cele told MPs in Cape Town that EFF leader Julius Malema had a meeting with Sithole in 2020 to plot his removal from office. This is a claim that Malema refuted. In a statement, General Sitole expressed shock and dismay at the allegations made by Minister Cele. He says he only met with Malema at the behest of Deputy Police Minister Cele to address potential threats against the EFF leader. Now, today, we heard EFF Deputy President Freud Shivambu address that very same issue. He has criticized the Police Minister, Bheki Cele, for his remarks regarding Julius Malema. Cele accused the EFF leader of conspiring with the Police Commissioner, Khehla Sitole, to have him removed. Shivambu has described Cele's statement as careless and childish.
Of course, although it has been withdrawn, we are not going to entertain the childish accusations that were made against the Commander-in-Chief about the plot to remove a certain minister. But also, how do you as a minister come and badmouth your Commissioner of Police, whatever personal differences we have, and then you still expect society to have faith in the police system where in Parliament you have got a minister who openly does that in press conferences, and then he repeats gossip as if it's intelligence. If we were to do that as well, we're going to spread gossip here and say that there are ministers who hire Nkabis to kill members of parliament who are about to expose them of corruption.
Well, that, of course, is what played out in Parliament. It is, of course, advised that since then, both members of Parliament have been told to withdraw those statements that were made during those addresses. That is a matter, of course, that is ongoing. But we stay with that story. I'm now joined by Action Society spokesperson Ian Kembren. Ian, good evening, and thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, thank you.
Each other in broad public. That's the Minister of Police and the Police Commissioner responding to this very situation, saying, well, this is a political game. Whether they've withdrawn, whether they've not withdrawn, the fact of the matter is it has played out in public and certainly has detrimental effect on the society's confidence in these leaders who are in a very critical cluster of fighting crime in the country.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be able to describe it better. I think this just goes to show what the quality of leadership in the South African Police Service is at the moment. I mean, we have far more to worry about than the little fight between Bheki Cele and Khehla Sitole, and I think it's quite embarrassing to see, firstly, that a minister would stoop that low as to take on a national commissioner on such a public platform. And it's also very sad to see that a national commissioner doesn't really come up, stand up for himself. I think, as a South African citizen, it's crucial that we acknowledge that we've got issues like rape. We've got 153 people raped per day in this country, more than 22,000 murders a year. And yet now we have a national commissioner and a minister of police spending and wasting taxpayers' money on a personal feud.
There have been calls that something needs to be reformed there, particularly in the whole process of how the commissioner is appointed and that relationship as it pertains to the minister and how they work together. What is your thinking? What are your suggestions?
So I think in a positive sense, I think we would really like to see that an external panel of policing experts should be appointed by the president that can make sure that any national commissioner, provincial commissioner and divisional commissioner in the South African Police Service is appointed according to merit and not according to political affiliation, because it seems over the last few years especially if you look at the combo in the last decade between Bheki Cele, amongst others, with Khehla Sitole, that the police are being abused or rather as a political iron fist of the ruling party. So we would like to see this external panel of experts be appointed to make sure that leadership is appointed according to merit. And I think after that, it's also very important that we do a skills audit in the South African Police Service to determine whether high-ranking officers are appointed according to their skill set and not according to personal affiliation.
Yeah. Having assessed their time in office, would you characterize it as a complete fail, and therefore both of them should be removed from that position?
Absolutely. I think let's zoom in a bit on the current National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Khehla Sitole. I think there are quite a few scandals between the two of them that really stand out. We can look just in the last 2 years, there have been several corruption allegations. Bheki Cele's corruption allegations already started more than a decade ago. Criminal charges against Khehla Sitole for interfering in an iPad deal with the July 2021 unrest, the shutdown of the property exhibit control management system. That's the system that manages any forensic evidence in the police, also the firearm permit system, and not even mentioning the fact that the police currently have no way of knowing exactly how many of the supposed or listed 500,000 plus firearms they still have control over that they are meant to. So they both need to go. And I think sooner rather than later, we can expect a very bloody year in South Africa if we look at crime statistics. And I believe it's going to be on the increase, especially if we see the terrible way in which the South African Police Service is deteriorating and losing integrity.
Do you think the president is taking this into consideration seriously, the complete breakdown in this relationship and its influence in the work of the SAPS? Certainly after the report from that expert panel, he should be, because it raises a lot of issues that require his attention, certainly.
Yes, I think you've worded it correctly. I think the president should have acted a long time ago. I don't think the expert report should have been the reason for him acting. Everything that was said in that report was said within a month after the riots occurred in South Africa. Nevertheless, more than 200 days ago, the president told the National Commissioner that he needed to give a reason why he should not be suspended. And still we haven't seen any action. So I don't think the president is putting South Africa first in his actions. I think he is putting politics first and the ANC first, and therefore we're not seeing urgent action. I believe it would be in his best interest to make sure that both Khehla Sitole and Bheki Cele are not only just moved to another political position, but are completely removed as public servants.
Do you think it's just merely being careless, merely being childish, or maybe merely playing political games? Or is there something deeper to this conflict within the police service in the country?
I need to count my words and speak carefully, but unfortunately I can't help but think that there's some kind of other competition between the two of them. I also think they're not speaking openly about what each of them know with regards to corrupt activities, not only in the ruling party, but also elsewhere in the South African Police Service. I also think that the president is currently very careful of sacking either Sithole